Senate passed its skinny budget resolution overnight. Joining us right now on what it means for the big, beautiful bill in the House that may or may not come next. Punchbowl News co-founder Jake Sherman is here. He's also an NBC News and MSNBC contributor. Good morning to you. So what does it mean for the big, beautiful bill? Is that in the offing here? And what's going to be in it?
So, Andrew, you have to think of this a few ways. Number one, Donald Trump endorsed the House bill. The House bill is one big, beautiful bill, as Trump says. It includes a huge spending reduction number, a tax number, $4.5 trillion. That's way lower than Donald Trump needs. And he wants the House to pass this bill, which they're going to try to do next week. The Senate bill is a hedge. John Thune understands that the House might not be able to get this bill through. I don't have a view on that yet. I'm waiting to hear from people next week. But let me just put this out there. You are a House Republican from a moderate district, and you are looking at a bill that is going to cut $880 billion from the Energy and Commerce Committee, which could include and will most likely include Medicaid trims. There's the political incentive for you to pass that bill, that resolution, is relatively low. You are going to get hammered, rightly or wrongly, from Democrats for the next 6 to 8 months to a year. So my view is that a tax and reconciliation deal will get done. But if you're a moderate Republican, you're much better off with the Senate's bill, which is a two-step process. And I want to say one more thing, Andrew, and I'm waiting for Joe to tell me why I'm wrong on all of these things. But I think this is a summer, fall, December story, the tax cuts. I don't think you're going to see tax cuts in the spring. I think this is going to take longer than everybody imagines.
What are the okay? Let me ask you a separate question. We were having a conversation yesterday about DOGE, and this idea that Americans could get a dividend or almost a refund check, call it a stimulus check back. This is something that Elon Musk has floated the idea of, and then President Trump floated the idea of. Do you think that is in the offing?
In the reconciliation bill, I don't know. I was talking about this yesterday with my colleagues. It would be difficult to, let me put it this way. If Trump wants to get it done, it will get done. He has a Congress that's on his side, period. Now, will it come in this reconciliation bill? I don't know. And remember, Andrew, anything out the door hurts because you're trying to exact savings. So if you're trying to exact savings and then you give the money away back to people, that's not going to be a saving. And I don't know from a technical perspective how they would do that. But if Donald Trump wants to send $5,000 rebate checks to everybody in America, Congress is probably going to have something to say, meaning it should be means tested, it should be limited. But it will get done. I don't know if it will get done in this reconciliation bill. And remember, one other thing, and this is my obsession. People need to understand this. Just because DOGE says something is cut doesn't mean it's cut. Congress has appropriated this money. It has been spent. Now, maybe it hasn't been cut in checks, but Congress needs to follow up DOGE with then reducing the appropriations that it sends to these agencies. So if you cut 6,000 employees from the IRS, Congress then needs to, in this next funding bill, which is due on March 14th, Congress needs to reduce the amount of money that it spends on the IRS, for example.
And you're saying they're not going to do that, or they will?
I don't know. It's going to be very difficult because, to take this a layer deeper, all spending bills in the House and the Senate with this government configuration are going to need Democrats to support them. So are Democrats going to agree to that? I don't know the answer to that.
But doesn't that put it seems to me that the Democrats are in a very difficult spot here.
Yes.
Because at some level, I think it's very popular among the American public for good reason to try to find these efficiencies, right? I mean, that is, I think we all look at the government and think it's bloated. I don't think anyone doesn't think it's bloated. I think then there's a sort of this other question, but the question is it a side question or is it the central question about how folks go about this process, not just in terms of finding the efficiencies, identifying these things, highlighting them, but then, who is either unilaterally or not, from a legal perspective, deciding on what payments are going through and what payments are not?
The government spends way too much money on a lot of nonsense. There's no question about that. I was just having this conversation with someone, Andrew. There is a conversation. First of all, Democrats are in a horrible position because there is no political win in defending government bloat. Period. The end. That's number one. Number two, there is, like, for example, the USAID cuts. No one is going to defend the amount of or the particulars of certain foreign aid expenditures that we make. There's a lot of people who, serious policy people, who have for years said that USAID, for example, should be put in the State Department. It should be slimmed down. Fine. But just going in and doing that when Congress needs to be bought into it is not great. And that gives Democrats an out to say that we've got this unelected guy, Elon Musk, running around cutting things. But I have not found any Democrat that I could find and that is defending government bloat. There is a ton of it. And on top of that, Democrats are just listless right now, Andrew, just completely listless and have no leader, have no real message. So this comes at a particularly difficult time for Democrats.
See, I fact-checked. That's like the mainstream media's new thing with Trump. Is fact. They don't fact-check anyone else.
That ain't a new thing, Joe. They've been doing that for years.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, right. We saw a lot of that with Biden. No, so I'm, with you, I'm fact-checking, and I didn't really hear anything today, Jake. So I'm going to probably let it slide. I mean, I'd only say that I think we elected Trump and Vance, and then of course we know but nobody else in the administration is elected. I just don't know why we single out Elon Musk every time we say his name, or Democrats do, as someone who's Joe, unelected. Everybody who serves at the request of the president, all of his advisors, all those people, we elected
Correct.
Trump, then he picks the people to do things. So none of them are elected. That doesn't mean he doesn't have.
You might have missed what I said. So let me
definitely
go
possible, because I'm listening to all the other facts that you're saying and making sure those are correct as a live fact checker. As a live fact checker.
I don't know what I would do without you in my life. Is what No, listen, because we have what I said was nobody is arguing the particulars of what DOGE is cutting. No one. But we have laws in the country.
No, I know.
Which says if you are going to fold up an agency, Congress needs to be a part of that. That's all I'm saying. And you don't see Scott Bessent, I always get that pronunciation wrong, running around and closing things up. We have laws that require, and by the way, the irony of this whole thing is Congress would probably do all of the things that Elon Musk is suggesting. I don't think it would be a problem, but there is no question, zero question that cuts to federal spending are incredibly popular in broad terms. And what Elon Musk is doing, I mean, the dude's the greatest businessman ever to walk the face of the earth. So betting against him is an incredibly bad bet. But all I'm saying, as somebody who believes in Congress with all of my heart, Joe, is that Congress should have a say in some of this.